What's good, YouTube? Slenderrevolutionx here. Coming to you guys today with a deck profile of my second place sneak peek DDDs. I played this at the Invasion of Vengeance sneak peek. I know it's a little late. I think it came out, I think the sneak peek was 2 weekends ago. So it's Tuesday. So not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. I got third place, beating out ABCs, Metaphors, Pendulums. This is a very viable deck right now, guys. I thought it had a lot of good matchups. And I didn't think that really changed with the release of the Invasion of Vengeance. So if you guys are looking for something that's a little more complex to play, it's not a very linear deck as much as it is. It'll be more complex when the structure deck comes out, but it's not like it's a walk in the park now. There's a lot of serious big plays, combo-based plays that give you a lot of advantage in this deck. And it's really interesting. It's something I just recently picked up, and I really like playing it. And like a bit about the tournament, there was about 30 people there, so it's not like it was a small. Well, I think the exact number was 38, so it's not like it was a small sneak peek. You know, it was pretty significant. So I think getting second place has some merit. And I did get the mat. Where's that? It's somewhere around here. I did get the mat and my treat toad at the event, so it's pretty exciting. But without further ado, guys, let's dive right into it. All right. I am going to show you guys the side deck, which is something that I usually don't do in my deck profiles. But since I did decently at an event with it, I figured I'd show you guys. So, start you off, you're going to have your 6 slimes. I still think 6, especially without the structure deck coming out yet, I think 6 is the number that you need to stick with. They just get your plays going, and it's just a really effective way to start off a big board. Then you have your 3 Keplers, just your Stratos of the deck. Searches the contracts get you going, things like that. 3 Ragnarok, and then 3 Seven Thomas. Ragnarok is a guy that brings back a DDD monster from the graveyard, and special summons it. It allows for rank 8 plays. It's pretty cool. It's a good card to start off some big plays in DD Seven Thomas. If you destroy a DDD or a DD monster in your Pendulum Zone, you can special summon a rank 8 from your deck. Just big combo pieces here, guys, that, you know, allow for rank 8 plays. 3 Armageddonite. Your graveyard's like another hand in this deck, and being able to pitch darks to your graveyard is pretty good. Along with the only other effective normal summon that you really have in this deck is the Kepler. So I like being able to utilize the normal summon in this deck, and this just extends your game state, and just, you know, it sets up bigger plays. I really like having Armageddonite in here. 2 Maxi. I think this card is very strong in this format. You're essentially going to get 1, if not 2, off the ABC player. It's just a good card to have. The only bad thing I think it really has matchup-wise is like in the match spectrum matchup. But Maxi just being a strong card in general, really good in the main deck this format. And then the card that I really showed people up with, that it really made a big effect in the event, and it was just like your blowout card. If you put Vanity Fiend on the field, if you have a deck that can run this, I suggest doing so. It's just kind of like Vanity's Emptiness. Like, yeah, it may stop your plays, but your opponent has to deal with it before they can advance their game state any further. So I really like using Vanity's Fiend in this deck, just because you always have options, and, you know, if they are able to take this out, you generally will have plays after this card leaves the field with this deck, so I really like it in here. And if you are able to put it out after you make a big extension play, it just can seal the game for you. So Vanity's Fiend, very, very strong. On to spells, we have 3 Dark Contract with the Gates. This is your Stratos that searches a DD monster from your deck and adds it to your hand. Really strong when, you know, trying to make big boards with Ragnarok or whatever. You know, there's just a lot of plays. You can search your slimes. All sorts of stuff like that. Like, this is a really good card to open, and it's not hard to open it with things like Kepler in the deck. Like, it just gets your plays going, and it's a tanky that you can reuse and reuse and reuse. So very strong. Now, contrary to what a lot of people like, I like running 3 of this Dark Contract with Swamp King, just because fusions are very strong, and it's an easy way to get to them. And the fusions in this deck, don't get me wrong, they're not the greatest thing, but, you know, just having more monsters on board, allowing for more Exceeds plays is very, very strong. Double Twin Twister. Back rows, Pendulum Scales, it's just a really good card to break, and, you know, you can proceed your own game state really far with this. because generally discarding a card doesn't hurt you in this deck because the graveyard is so strong. So I really like Twin Twister in this. Double Trade In was a triple, but just there's 6 targets, so double trade in works really well. And like I keep saying again and again, it's going to get old, but it's just really the basis of this deck is having cards in your graveyard is very strong. So being able to use trade in with things like Ragnarok and Thomas, it's just a very, very strong play, and it allows you to bring out more monsters and stuff like that, and just gives you more resources in general. Another big card that turned the tide in a lot of games for me this weekend, or the past event, was Mass Change 2. You run a lot of Darks, and Dark Law is just a really, really strong card in the game right now. And a lot of people don't see it coming. And when you have that Savin Kepler that you normal summon with 0 attack, 0 defense on the field, it's really nice to be able to put that into a Dark Law and disrupt your opponent's plays. I run one of the Forbidden Dark contract just for the special summon aspect that allows you to special summon a DDD from your hand, but its effects are negated. Just allows for more rank 8 plays because the only real DDD monster in your main deck is the Ragnarok. I don't run Leonidas. I just think Leonidas is not the best card, and like a lot of people like to run it for its scale, but I don't pendulum summon enough in this deck to even justify running it, so that's why I only run one of these. But it does allow for better plays and allows you to make some pretty big fusion monsters as well. On to the one-ofs of spells. The one for one being really strong, getting Kepler out because it allows it to get its normal effect, because it allows to get its effect when it's special summoned as well. It's just a really strong card. Foolish Burial, that's pretty self-explanatory. And the last card I ran, which was really strong, was Burial from a Different Dimension. A lot of people see this as putting your slimes back in the graveyard so you can fusion summon again and things like that. It's just recurring your graveyard with the DDD monsters you have. But this is actually really strong in the ABC matchup as well because tagging out their Buster Dragon is a cost. So they tag out, and then you flip this up, and all you have to do is put one of their ABC monsters back in the graveyard, and they can't bring them all out. So it's just a really, really strong card. I like this a whole lot, and it just like I said, I mean, the slimes are a very good engine in this deck, so being able to recur them as well is very, very strong. So that's it for the spells in the deck. Last, we got the traps. So we have the one contract, which is your Raigeki Break, and you can use this on either player's turn. It's just a really strong card, and the payment of 1,000 life points just really doesn't hurt you that much when you can really disrupt your opponent's plays before they even get started. And last but not least, obviously Vanity's Emptiness. Just a really, really broken card in the game. It's been broken since it came out. Just realization is, it's just when it was finally found, like this card came to the forefront of Floodgates, and it's just really, really strong. I honestly think you should run it in every deck. Like as a one-of, it can disrupt your opponent's plays, and just like with Vanity's Fiend, like they have to deal with this before they can deal with anything else. So it's just really, really strong. So that's it for the main deck. I believe it's 40 cards exactly. I really enjoyed playing it. So let's get into the extra deck. So start off with Fusions. You have your 3 Genghis. A lot of people run this at 2, but I like to keep 3 in here just because if you don't kill them the turn that you make the 2, it still allows for game state advancement later in the game if you can make a 3rd. Just because he's all out better than D-Arc, but I still run 2 D-Arc. Allows for rank 7 plays, and like generally it's vanilla, but it's a beater, and when its effect comes into play, like it's just a strong card in general when the effects come into play. Like you don't expect it to happen, but because generally I'm going into Genghis over her, but it's just a good card in general. I mean, you got to run it in DDDs. I mean, big attack, decent, like unknown effect, I guess, but allows for rank 7 plays more than anything. The one Oblivion King, Caesar, he won me probably 3 matches just because things like what was I going to say? Things like Kaijus, where you can steal the attack of your Kaijus and push over them. It's just, this card gets really beefy really fast, and if you allow for no openings and like if you're unhindered in your attack, because battle traps aren't as widely seen right now, like he can just really push him for a lot of damage that people aren't expecting. So I really like running him. The last fusion, obviously Dark Law. Dark Law just really, really strong, as I said before. It doesn't need a whole lot of explaining. On to the rank 6s. I run the 1 Beatrice, the 1 M7, and the 1 Dragulus. Dragulus is really good when you're going on the offensive, when you're going on the defensive. He just makes a lot of plays, like, and he can just keep coming back, and he's got that big 2800 defense. So if you're in a struggling position, like, it's really easy to make, and he also removes cards from the board. I really like M7. M7 actually allows for play extension on your turn. When you can add stuff back to your hand from your graveyard, like the slimes or, you know, whatever. There's just very situational where this card can make a lot of big plays for you. And Beatrice is just good in general. Like, this card, if you can get it on the board, I suggest running it in any extra deck. Like, if you have the potential to get Beatrice out, like, this deck is so reliant on the graveyard that it's huge to be able to get this. And that's all for my rank 6. My rank 7, I only run one. I run Dracosack. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of D-Arc, but the only reason I run it is to really just get into this, and it's another DDD fusion. But, like, Dracosack is another defensive card, and it allows for spot removal. It's just, I like it more than Big Eye, and just because this extra deck, in my opinion, is very, very tight. A lot of people don't think that, but I think this extra deck is very, very tight, and it's kind of hard to find space for an extra monster, but I find myself going into more rank 6s than I do rank 7s, so I'd rather have more rank 6 toolbox than I would rank 7. Like, if I'm going to go into this, like, odds are I'm either in a really bad position, it's either turn 1, or there's some spot removal that needs to be needed, all of which these can kind of do on their own. So, and I like Genghis more than I like D-Arc and going into them. It's just, Genghis allows for more plays than D-Arc, and therefore the rank 6s allow for more plays than the rank 7 does. On to the rank 8, the big beaters of the deck. Like, this is the reason that this deck is very viable right now. You can effectively go into Harbinger, who I think is arguably the best rank 8 in the game right now, especially the fact that it's generic. Next to him, wow, dropping stuff. Next to him, I have Divine Dragon Felgram. He's just a good card in general. Like, obviously he's not as strong as he used to be back in the day, but still a good rank 8. And then we have DD King Kali Yuga. He's a huge beater, heavy storm, quick play, can set your stuff up. Like, generally 9 times out of 10, I'm either going into Harbinger or Kali Yuga, depending on the situation. And last but not least, I have Elsei, who is really good spot removal and can fuel your graveyard effects and has dead ass. So that's all it for the extra deck. Let's go into side. This is the side that I ran there. It was really surprising. Obviously, I need to change it before I go to the next regional with this deck, which I do intend on playing. But this worked really well for the event. Double Chaos Hunter just wrecks ABCs. If you have this card against ABCs, like, it's just like having a Vanity's Fiend. Like, they have to deal with this before they can deal with anything else. And unless they have the Book of Eclipse or some way to get over this card, their deck is really, really hindered. Double Gammy. Still, Kaijus are just the best side deck cards in my opinion. Like, there's never been an archetype that has been so strong in the side. Like, this card is the MVP of my side deck. Like, just taking out things like Buster Dragon, and it's just like any kind of boss monster that you have any problem with, Gameciel will take care of it. Not just Gameciel, but Kaijus in general. Like, it's the era of the singular boss monster, like the Super Quantum Mech Dude, like, stuff like those cards is over just strictly because of Kaijus. Like, they're just so strong on the side. So that's it for monsters that I ran on the side. Spells, I just ran the Regeki Dark Hole combo, like, just for field removal, like, because if I can clear your board with this deck, odds are I can probably OTK you that turn, whether it be turn 2 or turn 10. Like, the longer that this deck runs, the more fuel that it gets, like, but it still has the ability, like, it just needs the clear field to go through, and, like, siding these in, I don't think I ever side all 3 in, but, like, it's just good to have. Like, they're just really good cards in general. On to the traps of the side. This card was probably my biggest blowout card, and that's Triple Crush Card Virus. If I was ever going second, that this card, against a deck that, like, this card hindered, like, I would side in all 3 just to hope that or if I was ever going first against a deck that I knew that this card was strong against, I would automatically side in all 3, and just literally just hope to open it, and if I did, it was a blowout. There was a game where I went against Pendulums and opened up Savant, Kepler, and Crush Card Virus, and just summoned the Kepler, got the +1, set the contract, or played the contract, I don't even remember which one I got, but, like, set the Crush Card, opened up Crush Card. The Metal Foe person that I used it against, I took 5 out of his 6 in his opening hand, and the Pendulum I took 4. Like, this card's just really, really strong if you can use it. And then, other than that, I run the other 2 of the other viruses. Just This one's really good against Magispectors. This one's really good against anything that runs spells. Like, it's just they all have their uses, and I think having a deck like this where you can use all three, I like to take advantage of that, just because it's something people aren't expecting, and it's just a blowout card. Like if it goes off. And last but not least, I run Triple Typhoon. I was really worried about Floodgates. I thought that Anti-Spell Fragrance would hinder me more than it did. But this is just good to like blow up scales and stuff like that. Like, Typhoon's just a really, really good card. The fact that you can use it like from your hand also is a good little twist. But other than that, I mean, the deck ran really well, guys. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Other than that, guys, remember, just hit that subscribe button and subscribe to join the revolution today. This is Slenderrevolutionx signing out, and I will talk to you guys later. See you.